Hello all, James here from James's Home of Tone, and I just wanted to make a spotlight video showcasing the new solderless guitar pots that I'm offering on the site. So these are premium CTS 450 series pots, and I make them with 250k, 500k, 1 meg specs in various short shaft, long shaft, split or solid shaft specs. So all the kind of common specs that you'd require for most guitar models, so Telecasters, Strats, Les Pauls, SGs, Jazzmasters, Jaguars, etc. So yeah, basically the idea behind these stemmed from my solderless harnesses that I've been offering for a number of years now, with great customer feedback, and they utilise these really neat and simple to use connector blocks that will comfortably accept all common types of guitar wire. So whether it's your Gavit style pushback cloth covered wire or plastic coated pickup wires, braided style wire like this, they comfortably accept all the different wire types, as proven reliably with the solderless full harnesses I've been offering for a long time. And yeah, the idea behind these was just perhaps to help people out that really aren't comfortable with soldering, aren't confident with their soldering, perhaps don't even own a soldering iron, but want to experiment and learn a bit more about guitar electronics without that worry of any damage caused from soldering. So I mean, there's ultimately many reasons I'm sure that these might have the benefit, but the sort of main thoughts behind it was that you can easily experiment with the guitar wiring components. So if you want to try 250k tone pot and then switch to a 500k and see what difference that makes within your guitar, try different tone capacitors, try out treble bleeds and quickly swap pickups, things like that have all been so useful with the harness, but utilise it in a even more concise way. So I really hope these will help a number of players for a number of different reasons ultimately. But for this video I just wanted to show how easy it would be using the pots to put together a basic guitar circuit. So I'm looking at here just a volume and a tone, jack socket, single pickup with the tone capacitor and a treble bleed, just to show how quickly and easily I can pop together a circuit like this. So let's dive in. So essentially with these solderless pots, I prepare them for either volume or tone position. The volume pot is pre-prepped with the ground lug pre-soldered, so that's basically ready to go as a volume pot, and likewise the tone pot, slightly more simple as it doesn't have that direct ground connection depending on your wiring style, so I've left that a little bit more simple, but it is ultimately optimized for tone pot usage. So here I'm going to be connecting a super simple circuit of just single pickup, single volume and tone to the jack socket. I'm using Gavit style cloth wire here, which is nice and easy to handle. You just push back the cloth to expose the wire, but if you're using plastic coated wire perhaps, then you'll need some wire strippers just to strip back that plastic coating and expose some of the central core wire. Now you'll notice these particular ones haven't got the colour coded dots, but if you place an order for one, they'll have colour coded dots on there, which is all in reference on my website as well, for helping guide which connector is which and where to connect which particular wire. Now ultimately, as there is a number of ways you could wire a guitar in a variety of different styles or functionality reasons, that might vary a little bit of how you approach it, but essentially it would be exactly the same if it wasn't a solderless part. If it was a regular part that you were soldering your wires to, the same rules would apply anyway. So there's not much theory change there. Basically it's just simpler with this essentially. So yeah, I'm going to be connecting the pickup signal, so the hot wire, into the input lug of the volume pot, and then also I'm going to want to run a little jumper wire from that volume pot over to the tone pot. So I'm going to grab a little offcut of wire I've got there and secure that into the exact same lug as the pickup signal wire, and simply grab my little flathead screwdriver and tighten that in place. So that'll be nice and secure there from doing that. And again, I'm just going to push back some of that the cloth covering to expose the central core, insert that into the connector block. Again, you want to ensure that the central core wire is nice and secure against the metal contact within the connector, and then if you've got cloth cover wire, it's great because you can just push that right back up to nice and insulate the wire as well. So there we are, we've got pickup signal coming into the input lug of the volume pot, then a jumper wire over to the tone pot there. Now we've got the ground lug from the pickup, and on the back of the pot casing you'll notice there's a set of 4 connector blocks, all for ground. So these could be from all your various pickups, it can be from your bridge ground wire, etc. So or also the ground wire between your 2 pots as well. So I'm just going to choose one of those and insert it in. And tighten that up so it's nice and secure. There we are. Right, so while we're on the subject of ground wires, ultimately you should, or certainly should, have a ground wire that comes from the bridge, which essentially grounds the strings when the guitar's in use and plugged in. So let's just pretend that's this wire. So I'm going to bring that over, insert that into a connector. Again, one of the ground connectors is perfect on the back of the casing. So that's essentially imaginary, but the wire coming from the bridge of the guitar. So that'll be grounding your strings nicely. Now let's connect up our jack socket now. So here's a pre-wired jack socket. Now if you're fitting these pots to an existing guitar, you've probably already got wires attached to your jack socket. If you're starting from scratch on a wire up build, then I do sell these jack sockets pre-wired like this. So they'll come with a length of wire pre-soldered to the hot and the ground connections on the jack, so they're ready to go, and you can just trim that down to the length you need and then they're ready to go. So hopefully those might be useful too. So here we've got the middle lug of the volume pot is the output or sweeper, connected to the sweeper within the pot. So we're going to attach that in there and secure that one in place. And then the ground lug from the jack can go to the ground lug of the pot as well. So you can either use that one, or you could use one of the ones on the back of the casing. They're all of those are ground connectors, so doing the same job. I'm going to connect it there just because it looks a little neater. So there we are, that'll be the jack socket. Now you're going to also want to ground the 2 pot casings to ensure things run nice and quietly in use. And now if you've got something like a Telecaster, for example, where the pots are mounted to a metal control plate, chances are there's ground continuity from mounting it to that metal plate. Now you might want to be armed with a multimeter for any guitar wiring work. I find them so useful for a multitude of reasons when working on your guitar. So to ensure that before you worry about adding any extra wires, mount your pots to the control plate, pop a multimeter, so touch the control plate, touch the pot casing. If you get a nice beep from your continuity setting, then you're good to go. If you haven't and there's any issues there, or you're mounting these straight through a body, or you're mounting them to a pick guard with no shielding, etc., then you're going to need some form of wire ground connection between the pots. So I'll show that here. So I'm going to connect one end to the volume pot. And then the other end to the tone pot's ground connectors. And then the final little connection we're going to want to make is our tone capacitor. So again, there's a number of ways you could attach this depending on the schematic you're following. So don't worry too much about exactly where I'm fitting these. It will all depend on the schematic you're intending to follow. But you'd wire it exactly the same as you would if it was a soldered pot. So there we are. Essentially there we've got a guitar circuit, then we've got the signal from the pickup, the volume pot and the tone pot all connected up, our jack socket and our bridge ground wire. So that would be a working guitar circuit now, and we haven't had to touch a soldering iron. So if that's appealing to you, if you find soldering stressful or worry about damaging components or just simply don't own one, then hopefully these will be really useful to you. And of course you can do it on a repair, so if you need to replace one pot, then you can certainly just purchase an individual pot and replace that. If you're doing a full wire up like we've done here, albeit this is a simple one, but if you're doing a full wire up, then you can use all the solderless pots if that's useful to you. Now let's just show the benefits of things like this. So if you've played the guitar for a bit, you're thinking, it works well, but I wish I had a bit more top end clarity down the sweep of the volume pot, then you might want to add a treble bleed cap or treble bleed mod. So this would be really easy to add on this scenario, because you can just loosen the volume pot lugs and insert it between the input and the output lugs of the volume pot connectors. Let's just loosen that one so I can insert that. Again, you might notice these wires are really long. There's simply because these capacitors are grabbed off the shelf from stock, so I just thought I don't want to trim them down. They'll be used on a build soon, I'm sure. And there we are. So we've just fitted a treble bleed to the circuit now, so that's good to go. And again, if you're familiar with things like treble bleeds, you'll understand that there's a huge variety of capacitor and resistor values you can use. So the benefits of having the solderless connector block, it's so quick to swap between them and experiment a little bit. Same with the tone capacitor. If you want to try a different value capacitor for a different response through the sweep or overall tone response from the pickup, then quickly swapping via two little screws to swap between your capacitor values is really useful. And likewise, if you've got 250k pots in your guitar and you want to see what a 500k pot will sound like in it, then it's a quick swap. Undo those wires, pop the new solderless pot in there, connect them all back up, and you haven't had to touch a soldering iron during the process, so a little bit neater and easier for the experiments anyway. So hope that helps. As I say, there's a number of ways you can wire up a guitar circuit, but I just showed a super simple method here showing how quick and easy it is to utilise these solderless pots, and I really hope they're of use to you, and I hope this video helps explain how to use them a little bit more. Cheers all and enjoy. Thank you. Here at James's Homertone, we're passionate about guitars, traditional and unique, and we proudly represent the brands that share our ethos of getting the most out of your own guitars. Our online shop is a curated collection of accessories, electronics and parts, pickups and of course guitars, with an easy to use checkout as well as convenient shipping methods which are available across the UK, Europe and selected countries worldwide. The shop is a culmination of a lifetime's obsession with the guitar, and we hope that your visit provides a sense of that through the quality products we offer, as well as the unique nature of the brands that we proudly represent. Check out the website at www.homeoftone.co.uk and I hope you enjoy your visit. Thanks for watching this video here on our channel, and if you did, it'd be great if you could click the like and subscribe buttons too. We really appreciate your support. Thank you very much.